You know what? The EIDL loan process is confusing, to say the least. And the more I look into this, the more questions I have that aren't answered on the SBA website. You read through the entire EIDL loan website page and you're like, okay, I get that I need to send an email and they may request some documents, but like what's going on beyond that? What are the additional steps? What can I expect? Does everyone receive this loan? Can you potentially receive a partial loan of less than 24 months? What exactly is going on here? And I know there's a ton of interest with this program. There are a ton of people who are trying to up their size, up their loan size, that is. This isn't a Cialis commercial. They're trying to up their loan size. And I have a ton of questions here. So I reached out to the SBA, a top administrator at the SBA, to get some more context on several questions here. So we have some answers to, I think, 6 major questions that aren't answered or addressed anywhere else. So I'm going to run through those questions real quick, and then we're going to dive into the answers, and I'll give more context where more context is needed. So the first question that I wanted an answer to was, if the SBA could outline the EIDL loan increase process, like what is each and every step from that initial email to final funding? What is every step along the way? That way people know where they stand and you're not going to be as confused as to where you are and how far away from funding you actually are. Second, I want to know if there's an expected timeline for the average person from that first email funding request to actual money in their account. How long can people expect that? Third, for the loan increase, will everyone who is accepted be bumped up to 24 months worth of funding from 6 months? Or is it going to be like some kind of range between 6 and 24 months? Is there some kind of calculation here? Are there certain people who are going to apply and then get 18 months worth of funding? This answer isn't anywhere, so we need an answer there. Fourth, I understand it that not everyone will be eligible for the loan size increase, so I wanted a confirmation of that. And I want to know what the eligibility criteria the SBA is looking for those to increase their loan size. And also I want to say too that this is a loan. This is not a forgivable program. So remember, you have to pay this. If you increase your loan size, this just means it's going to be a larger payment in 18 or 24 months whenever your payments start. Fifth, if someone is offered the full 24 months, can they accept less than that full amount? Can they accept, let's say, 16 months worth of funding? And then finally, some people have reported that a soft credit pull is happening from the SBA when requesting this increase. And I wanted to just make sure, is this accurate? Is this truthful? Is this going to be the case for everyone? And thankfully, I got my responses here as quick as can be. So we have a bunch of responses here. The SBA has been so helpful as far as addressing these issues. I'm glad that they realized like a platform like this can help so many people. Whatever it is, 50,000 people who end up watching this, it's going to save them a ton of time in, call center time and things like that. If they can provide people like me this information, that way I can provide it to as many people as I can reach. So the first question, the answer here, I wanted an outline of the process, step by step, as to what we can expect for funding from first email to actual funding into their bank. Now, they said that the steps may not be exactly the same for all borrowers, depending on individual circumstances and the amount of documentation that they already have. But in general, the steps for the loan increase are: first, the borrower sends that email to COVID EIDL increase request at sba.gov. I know it's weird to send an email. It's just the process they decided. Second, the request will be assigned to a loan officer for review, and it'll go in the order that it was received. So if you've been a subscriber to this channel, you're kind of in luck here because I gave out that email before it was sent to everyone, and then you probably had time to apply first and get your spot in line. If that doesn't deserve a like and a subscribe on this video, I don't know what does. The third step is the loan officer reviews the case file to determine if additional documentation or information is needed to increase that loan size. Fourth, the SBA contacts the borrower by phone or email with the next steps to continue the loan increase request. They might do some kind of verification or something like that, but be aware that they may contact you by phone or email. If they contact you by phone, don't be afraid to ask whoever is contacting you to verify some information for you so you know it's legitimate. That way you're not going to get scammed. You could say, hey, what's my loan number? Or what's the last 4 digits of my social security number? Whatever information you want to request from them. That way you know it's not a scam. And then fifth, once the documentation and information is received, It's going to be reviewed by the loan officer again, and a decision is going to be made on the loan increase request. All decisions are communicated via email back to the borrower, and the borrower will select the increased loan amount in the account portal if it's approved. So you're going to be able to select that amount, however much you want to receive, up to 24 months. Now, number two, the question that I really want to know the answer to: what is the expected timeline for the average person from very first email request to account funding? Now, with this, we shouldn't get our hopes up on any specific timeline. You know, they're inundated, to say the least. But the answer here is we're processing the request as fast as we can. We don't have an estimated processing time for the average borrower right now. I can say that everyone that submitted a loan increase request to that request email, they will receive a follow-up email from the SBA with the next steps. Everyone will receive that email between April 22nd and April 26th. That doesn't mean that it's going to be fully processed then, but they're going to have a better expectation at some point in the future. I would not expect to be fully funded in this for potentially months. It may take a while. I know there is a lot of hype around this program. A lot of people want to be a part of this program, so I wouldn't expect it to happen fast. Let's set the bar as low as possible, and then we'll be pleasantly surprised if they break. You know, let's just say 3 months, and then if they're faster than 3 months, we'll be pleasantly surprised with that. Third question: for the loan increase, will everyone who was accepted be bumped up to 24 months, or is there going to be some kind of range between 6 and 24 months? And the answer here is every borrower that qualifies will be offered the loan increase up to 24 months. I was actually kind of surprised about this. So you'll be offered up to 24 months as long as you're accepted, and as the maximum of $500,000. And a little caveat here that we haven't seen before is this is less the amount that you already received. So let's say you received a $10,000 EIDL advance, and you qualify for $400,000 in EIDL loan. You're only going to be able to get $390,000. However, if you qualify for $600,000, then you'll still get the full $500,000 in the example that they gave. So that's something that I haven't heard anywhere else. So it won't be 24 months exactly on your loan if you received in advance, but the combination of your advance and the loan will equal to 24 months of your operating expenses. Fourth, I understand that not everyone will be eligible for the loan size increase. What is the eligibility criteria that the SBA is looking for? The answer here, the eligibility criteria for the loan is the same as before, but they're now requiring tax records from the IRS and potentially other documentation to validate that the applicant is actually a business. Now, I know with this, a lot of people applied and received funding who maybe weren't actually businesses, so those people may not receive the additional funding if you maybe shouldn't have received funding in the first place. He said the CARES Act lowered the guardrails by allowing applicants to be approved by credit score and self-certification, and then later that was changed in the December stimulus bill, so now they can request things like tax returns just to make sure that everything is on the up and up and that there's not as much fraud in the system, because there was a whole lot of fraud the first time around. My fifth question: if someone is offered the full 24 months, can they accept less than the full amount for their funded loan? And the answer here is thankfully yes. You can accept however much less you want. You could accept 7 months worth of funding if you just needed a little squeaker bit of more funding than you already received. And also, this is probably the smart way to do it. You can choose a lower amount, and then if you later decide that you need more funding, you have 2 years to up that funding amount. And remember that even though payments don't start for 2 years in some cases, interest starts. So if you're not sure if you need that larger amount, maybe consider taking a smaller amount, because the interest will be accruing. Especially if it's funding that you're not using. It's just going to be sitting there, but you're going to be paying interest on it. I mean, the interest rate isn't high, but still just something to consider when you're accepting whatever loan amount that you want. And remember, this is not forgivable. This is a loan that you have to pay back. And then my sixth question: some people have reported a soft credit pull from this loan increase. Is this accurate? Is this going to happen to everyone? And the answer here, surprisingly, because I've seen this report several times, they're not doing a soft credit pull. And they're not pulling credit at all for loan increases. They're using your original credit report that was pulled during the original application. And in the original application, if you haven't yet applied and now you're applying and you're trying to get the 24 months, it's going to be a hard inquiry from Experian, just so you're aware how exactly this works, but there's no soft pull this time around. So I think that this is going to be extremely illuminating for anyone who wants to increase their loan size. And it's kind of like, I don't know the answer to all these questions, but now you know all the answers to these questions. Make sure you share this video if you found it valuable and you think other small business owners may also find this thing valuable. Make sure you check out the link in the description for Webull so you can grab 2 completely free stocks with a $100 deposit. Don't even have to spend the $100. Also, there's a link down there if you're interested in getting into crypto. You can get $10 worth of free Bitcoin. So I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.